How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Loft 801. My name is Diego, and today's video is a review of Spiritwalker. It's a South Korean action mystery thriller released in the USA on August 22nd, 2021, and was directed by Yoon Jae-gun. I am terribly sorry if I butchered that. The film follows Ian after he wakes up from a car crash and tries to piece together his identity. Before I hop into my review, please take a second to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. I really appreciate it. This review will contain spoilers, so continue at your own risk or click away. Lastly, if there's something you want reviewed, leave a comment and I'll get to it. Thank you. We're hopping in 3, 2, 1. For the most part, I found the plot to be really interesting. Ian doesn't remember anything after the car crash and retraces his steps as best he can. While he's retracing his steps, he sees his reflection several times and it confuses him. The face looking back at him isn't his. Eventually, he gets a solid lead, but as he explores it, he and his surroundings transform. He's no longer in a hotel room, but in a restaurant. He's no longer a fit adult, but an elderly man. This obviously freaks him out and he wanders aimlessly throughout the city. Unbeknownst to him, he has several more transformations to go through. Every 12 hours, his mind will transfer from one body to another. This makes his memory loss situation very unique because he doesn't only have to figure out who he is, but whose body he's in. Thankfully, during these transformations, he always remembers something about himself. While he discovers who he is, Ian befriends a homeless man who continuously helps him out. The homeless character is never named, but I really liked him, so I'm gonna refer to him as Homie. I thought Homie was hilarious and he kept Ian grounded as a character. Throughout the film, we see Ian transform into several characters, including a special agent, a hitman, and a mafia boss. He discovers that each person he transforms into had close ties to him as Ian and that they're searching for him. He meets Gina, who is also searching for him, but unfortunately she doesn't trust him because he's obviously not in his own body. Ian also transforms into the body of a wanted man named Yu. After some detective work with Homie involving a missing flash drive, Ian finally sees that he was shot and Gina saved him with help from a thug named G. Unfortunately for Ian, he broke the cardinal rule of never using a credit card when you're trying to hide, and the mafia boss finds them. Come on, dude, it's rule number 1. The mafia boss has been searching for you because he knows you knows where Ian is. Tricky sentence, hope that made sense. At that moment, Ian transforms into one of the boss's thugs, and with some slyness, he escapes with Homie, and with Gina's help, they find his body. Upon finding his body, he remembers everything. Ian, Gina, and Yu were part of the same special task force. They busted a drug operation, but they discovered there was $25 million worth of drugs missing. Yu discovered that their boss works in tandem with the mafia boss, who's named Director Park. This forced him into hiding. Gina and Ian met with their boss and were ambushed. Ian was injected with a drug called Ultra X twice and it rendered him comatose. Park tried to set it up so it looked like Ian killed Yu and Gina, but at midnight, something ethereal happened and Ian switched bodies with G. He started a gunfight and they escaped. Despite having found his body, Ian can't enter it because Park arrives, knocks him out, and captures Gina while Homie escapes with his body. When Ian comes to, he's in a locked car with the thugs he's inhabited and Yu rolling into a lake. He helps one of the thugs escape before he and Yu drown. While Ian was drowning, Park took Gina back to his club and after an argument with Gina's boss, he kills him. He starts doing mad lines of cocaine and we see he's got ties to some high rollers, including a senator. While he's coked out, the senator yells at him, so he kills her, and at that moment, Ian walks in through the door. Ian pulls a John Wick and kills everyone in the club before confronting Park. It's honestly one of my favorite scenes ever. Park actually defeats him, but Gina saves Ian by shooting Park in the head. Finally, the film ends with Gina being interrogated by police and recalling the situation. With that plot overview out of the way, I need to confess something. I saw this film twice because 20 minutes into my first viewing, I realized I was watching the movie in Russian. I don't know how it happened, but I do know I loved the Russian voices so much I finished the entire movie dubbed. I later watched the movie in its original Korean, but I enjoyed the Russian voices much more. It made the characters sound so tough and badass.
Черт, я не знаю.
The Russian voice acting had me 100% invested in the movie, especially because it looked like the voices matched the characters really well. I'm giving you this disclaimer because it affects my final rating, but we'll get to that soon. As I said earlier, I found the plot enjoyable. It had lots of twists that I wasn't expecting, and I thought it was really unique. I didn't feel like the movie had any intentional underlying messages, and that's okay. That's not what the movie was for. However, some unintentional and underlying messages are that our governments and elected officials sometimes deal with unpleasant individuals. Oftentimes, they also treat individuals as pawns, as seen with Ian, Gina, and Yu. Regarding the tone of the movie, I thought it was perfect. It felt serious and gritty, but just before things could start to feel too serious, the movie would use Homie as a comic interlude. There were some good jokes about Samsung products not being worth money and a Russian person being referred to as a Soviet. I felt like the gritty, serious tone of the movie worked really well, especially because it only ran for an hour and 48 minutes. The movie felt fast-paced, but it took plenty of time to develop the characters and their personalities. I also thought the film did really well with the action sequences. They weren't extensively cut up, so they were easy to follow along with. I briefly touched on the acting, so now I want to mention Yoon Ki-sang did an amazing job as Ian. I also really enjoyed Park Ji-hwan's portrayal of Homie. I thought both actors had really good chemistry together. Lim Ji-yoon also did a good job as Gina. She was strong and independent and enhanced the story. One of my favorite characters was Director Park, portrayed by Park Yeon-woo. I thought he did a great job as an unhinged mafia boss. When it comes to the cinematography, I was genuinely impressed. Whenever Ian changed bodies, his environment would change too. In his first body swap, we're treated to some lovely visuals and amazing music. When he changes into Park's body, we get even more amazing visuals and get to experience neon hallways and a bougie club. I thought this movie was filmed wonderfully. Something that made the visuals seem even more magical was the music. I can't name any of the tracks, but I promise they fit really well. Overall, I was shocked at how much I enjoyed this movie. In April of this year, I was going through movies with streaming release dates for that month, and when I saw the trailer for Spiritwalker, it looked like a 7 out of 10 to me. I was wrong, way wrong. This movie is very visually pleasing, and the soundtrack makes it feel surreal at moments. The tone and the pace of the movie felt perfect. I enjoyed the direction the plot took us. It was unique and engaging for me. All that said, I have 2 ratings for this film, depending on the language it's watched in. Based on my viewing of the Korean version, I gave this movie a 9 out of 10. However, because I saw the movie in Russian first and I thought they made the characters seem more badass and intimidating, I'm giving my viewing of the Russian version a 9.4 out of 10. One thing is for certain, I really enjoyed this movie and I encourage you to watch it for yourself. Thank you for listening to my review of Spiritwalker. If you enjoyed the content and want to support the channel, don't forget to leave a like and hit subscribe. If you didn't enjoy the content, leave a like anyways out of pity. If you agree or disagree with me, let me know in the comments. I'd love to read what you have to say. Also, if there's anything you want to see reviewed, let me know and I'll get to it. Lastly, if you want to see some more from me, you can check out my vlogs linked up above or my podcast, Friends with Benefits. My name is Diego and I'll see you next time.